Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dominic Peterson, aka Doug's on 503, talking all things Oregon football. If you're not following, if you're not subscribed already, go and smash those buttons below to join the Doug Zone family. We're always talking Oregon football. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media on Instagram and Twitter at Doug Zone 503. Real simple. Same name at Doug Zone 503 on Instagram and Twitter to get the quickest Oregon football updates directly from me. All right, guys, let's get into it. We're here on our Thursday episode. As you know, every Thursday we do our preview and predictions of the game coming up. And this week for week 9, we have our number 8. Yes, now number 8 getting up there, guys. Number 8 Oregon Ducks going on the road to Berkeley. Going to go face the Cal Bears, okay? The Oregon Ducks are 6-1, 4-0 in conference play, the only undefeated team left in the Pac-12 to this point. Cal is 3-4, 1-3 in conference play. Not exactly the season that Cal is looking for, but they have an opportunity to get a big win here, right? Game's going to be played in California Memorial Stadium, 12:30 kickoff time, where Oregon is a big 16.5-point favorite. ESPN currently gives Oregon an 82.5% chance to win. Although, in my opinion, Cal's played us in some tough games, close contests, scary games. For the most part, though, Oregon's dominated the series over the last few years. Cal's last game was against the Washington Huskies, where they lost by 1 touchdown, 28-21. They fell there to the Washington Huskies at home. Cal just can't put enough points on the board to compete with some of these teams, and that's where they've taken a few losses. Their defense hasn't been a par to what they've used to be in like around 2017, 2018, when they're upsetting the really good Pac-12 offenses and slowing them down when those defenses were really disrupting things. This year's Cal defense, not so much. Oregon's last game, they went against number 9 UCLA. As you know, top 10 matchup in Eugene was big time. ESPN College Game Day and more was there. All the pageantry you can have, and Oregon gets it done big time. 45-30 win in Eugene, making them undefeated in conference play and sole position of the Pac-12. All time in this series, Cal actually leads the series 42-41, and there's been 2 ties in this series. So very close competitive series all time with Cal. Oregon and Cal through the years have had some great matchups, great close games going back and forth, and Oregon has an opportunity here to close in on this series and tie the all-time series with a win here. Oregon is also 7-0 as a top 10 team against Cal. So that's another stat leaning in the Ducks' favor there. Since the turn of the century, since the year 2000, Oregon is actually 500, 5-5 in California Memorial Stadium since the year 2000. So that might surprise some people. It certainly surprised me when I seen that stat. Never, not the most craziest environments when you talk about Cal Berkeley, but in the past that place would get a little crazy. Okay, so obviously, this game, looking into it, just like a few other games on the schedule that we've seen where Dan Lanning and staff and the team has really handled business. This game has the making of a classic Oregon letdown, right? I mean, if you've been an Oregon fan for the past 10, 15 years, you know what it's like. You know how it goes, right? You win these big games, you get right there in the college football playoff national spotlight, and it's late in the season, right? And you play an opponent you're not supposed to lose to. Nobody's really looking at a loss here. And then all of a sudden, right, Oregon takes that loss and bounces out of the picture, right? Well, people are starting to talk about Bo in the Heisman race. People are starting to talk about Oregon maybe sneaking into a college football playoff if things go their way, right? And so far, Dan Lanning, in year 1 has not made that mistake, okay? And I've been very impressed. We've been on the road against Washington State. Was a close call there. But other than that, I mean, Arizona certainly scared me going on the road, but Oregon really handled business there. And in every big game, Oregon has handled business, okay? This is a lower tier conference game, okay? coming off ESPN game day where, motivation could be a little lower for these Duck players. I don't see it. I think Dan Lann's going to get these guys going, but let me remind you guys that no team has gone 9-0 in the Pac-12 when the conference went to a 9-conference game schedule. So not one team. Okay, let me remind you, has gone 9-0 in the Pac-12 since the conference went to a 9-conference game schedule. The game is going to be played at 12:30, so on Fox. So, which is always good to get East Coast eyes on your team, right? Especially if you're trying to sneak in that college football playoff, really prove yourself. Some people on the East Coast nationally might start paying attention to Oregon after that big win against UCLA and seeing how real Oregon really is this year and how they're not a bad team. That week 1 game was just week 1. First game under Dan Lanning, where his former team knew everything he was going to do. So, it was just had a recipe for disaster week 1. But ever since then, Oregon has scored over 40 points in every game. So really dominant play by Oregon. Another 12:30 kickoff time where, if Oregon blows Cal out, do what they're supposed to do, they're going to continue to be in that talk, right? If Oregon comes out kind of sloppy, sleepy, not really motivated because it's not college game day, because it's not an undefeated opponent, and play a close game with Cal, kind of like last year. I mean, Oregon barely escaped 24-17 on a late scramble by Anthony Brown last year. I was actually at that game, and it shouldn't have been a close game, right? So 12:30 kickoff time, perfect time to get some eyes on you. So I hope Oregon handled business, and spoiler, I expect them to. All right, so let's go ahead and preview Cal's year so far. So yeah, Cal, as I said, is 3-4 on the season, 1-3 in conference play. The start of the year pretty strong. I'll just go ahead and list the games real quick for you guys here. So this is Cal's season here. Win 34-13 against UC Davis. Win 20-14 against UNLV. Loss 24-17 at Notre Dame, where they actually had the lead for the majority of that game. Then you come home, which is right here, most impressive win of the season if you're Cal. Win 49-31 against Arizona. Really put it on those guys, where they scored over 40 points for the only time that they will so far this season. The next game at Washington State is where the downhill slide starts to come in. Lost 28-9 against the Cougars. Then you go to Colorado. Okay, really expect to win here because Colorado has not performed that well. They were a winless team at this point, and you lose 20-13 in Boulder, which is really bad loss. And then, as you know, last game they go against the Huskies and they lose by a touchdown, which pretty close game. I can't lie. Okay, against the Huskies offense, hold them to 28 ain't bad. Seen improvement there from the Colorado game, but still didn't get the job done. You take the loss. So Cal's on a 3-game losing streak right here. They're going to be desperate at home to get the Ducks, right? Their offense is led by quarterback Jack Plummer. Okay, this is a transfer from Purdue, where he played about 3 seasons there. Didn't really play a lot. Last year at Purdue, he threw about for 864 yards and 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions when he did get play. This season, as a starter here at Cal, having a really good season. Okay, has about 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. 61% completion rate. So really decent, solid quarterback that Cal has up there. Good pocket passing quarterback with good size. He's 6'5", 215 pounds. And offensively, the Bears haven't really been great, but they got a nice, solid quarterback who can make some plays back there. And they have a really good freshman running back who's been running over some teams, and Jade Knott. Okay, this is someone who Oregon recruited pretty hard. Against Arizona, he had, which was his best game of the season. He had 19 carries for 274 yards and 3 touchdowns as a freshman, doing that against an Arizona team. Now, ever since then, he has not been nearly as effective as that. And as you know, Arizona's run defense is atrocious. And they're going to go, the Cal Bears are going to go against an Oregon run defense, which is really, really good in the conference rankings statistically. Cal's really struggled to move the ball and score against good defenses in the conference this year as well. Let's just go over Cal's, statistical rankings on offense. They average around 21.5 points per game, which is not good enough in the Pac-12 to really win some games. It ranks 101st in all of college football, while Oregon is averaging nearly 40 points at 37.8 points per game. That's good for number 13 in all of college football. Cal averages 363.2 yards per game, which is near the bottom stat in college football, number 84. While Oregon, on the other hand, is averaging 502 yards per game, number 5 in all college football. So as you can see, Cal's offense compared to Oregon's offense is going to be outmatched. And you add on that Cal's defense statistically has not played well against some of the better offenses in the league. It's going to be tough. Cal's going to need to score more than 35 if they're going to want to beat Oregon. I'm going to say that right now, which they've only done once all season when they scored 49 against Arizona. So key thing for Cal if they want to win this game is they're going to have to bring it on offense for sure. This year, the Cal defense is, slightly statistically better than Oregon's, but, they have not really played nearly the opponents that Oregon has played offensively. I would say Cal's defense is pretty decent up front and pretty good at stopping the run, pretty average there. Cal's not allowed an opponent to score over 40 points a game. So that's something to note there, while Oregon has scored 40 points per game in 6 straight games. Spoiler here, I don't think Cal's going to stop Oregon, though. We'll get into it, though. We'll get into my score prediction here in just a minute. First, let's cover my 3 keys to the game. I always like to give my 3 keys to the game going into it. So first key, I have play Oregon football, okay? Run the ball effectively, keep the quarterback on his feet to make these excellent passes, and defense make plays when needed, and, get those key turnovers. That's Oregon football right there to a T, right? This year, they've been able to run the ball. They've been able to keep Bo Nix up. O-line just giving up 1 sack all season. Really, really good there. And then, on defense, it's been the bend but don't break, right? I mean, you give up some yardage, you give up some plays here and there, but when it's time to get a turnover, when it's time to make a stop, the Oregon defense has stepped up at times against some big opponents. So just play Oregon football. I'm sure you'll get the job done. Number 2, keep the foot on the pedal, okay? After a big game, top 10 matchup, right? You get a lesser opponent in Cal. You might not be as motivated to really, you might not be as up to really get up and play in this one, especially early kickoff, 12:30 in Berkeley, right? You got to stay motivated and you got to dominate like you should. So number 2, keep the foot on the pedal. And then number 3, score over 40 points. Okay. So Oregon has scored, like I said, over 40 points in 6 straight games. Cal has only scored 40 points in 1 game against a bad Arizona defense. So if you score 40 points, it's almost a guaranteed win. So those are my 3 keys of the game there. I got number 1, just play Oregon football. Number 2, keep the foot on the pedal and stay motivated. And then number 3, score over 40 points. Okay, so let's get into my final score prediction here. What do I think is going to happen in this game? Like I said earlier, I just don't think the Cal offense is going to be able to score enough points to just keep up with Oregon, nor do I think the Cal defense can stop this Oregon offense right now, ran by Kenny Dillingham and Bo Nix at hand. The way these guys are calling the game, the way that Bo Nix is, affecting the offense, it's just been a terror for defenses. The only way Cal would win this game is if 2 things happen, okay? If Oregon just comes out unmotivated and, just shoots themselves in the foot with turnovers and penalties and, just beats themselves, if Oregon beats Oregon, right? And then number 2, if Cal does something on defense that no other team really besides Georgia has done, and that's stopping the Oregon offense, okay? Oregon has better talent, better athlete on paper, right? So if they get it done there, I just don't see this Cal team really stopping Oregon on both sides of the ball, to be honest. I don't think this Dan Lanning team is going to beat themselves. Okay. I think you're going to need a team that can just flat out beat them. And I got a final score prediction of Oregon 54, Cal 17. Okay. Big score here. All respect to Cal. I think they're a pretty good team, just not against Oregon. Oregon's in a different league, a different tier. And I think it's going to show on the field on Saturday. Oregon 54, Cal 17 in my final score prediction. All right, guys. So it's Halloween weekend. Be safe, party it up. If you guys are going to Berkeley, have fun out there. I'll be in Vegas. Okay. So any Duck fans in Vegas, hit me up. I'm definitely trying to find a good spot in Vegas to go watch the game. But I got Ducks over the Cal Bears in this game, 54-17. Guys, if you enjoy content like this, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And also don't forget to go follow me at DuckZone503 on Instagram and Twitter. As always, guys, I always appreciate you guys. Go Ducks. Happy Halloween, guys. And let's get a Ducks W in this game, right? All right, guys, man, stay safe. As I said, go Ducks. Let's go.